Hey guys!
Hey guys!
We're back with another Walking Dead video. In this video we're going to talk about Richonne, the Rick-Michonne relationship, and how it could change things from what we've seen in the comics as it concerns Michonne.
Yes.
So, if you're not totally caught up on the Walking Dead television show, and you don't read the comics and you don't want to get any kind of thing spoiled because of information from the comics as it pertains to the show or anything like that, skip this video, come back later, or just turn it off now, because everything we say from this point forward could be a major spoiler for the show. So, in the comics, Rick and Andrea are together, but Andrea's dead in the show.
Yes. So we knew that they were going to have to replace Andrea with somebody because it's kind of necessary for Rick. It helps develop his character and such. And I was rooting for Michonne the whole time. But this does change things quite a bit for Michonne's character.
Yeah.
So Rick's character is basically going along the same path. It's just with Michonne instead of Andrea.
Right. But where things get really kind of jumbled up is with Michonne, because in the comics she ends up with Ezekiel for a little bit, and then she has, I don't know, kind of a personal crisis, and she leaves for like 2 years. She goes out on a boat, and then she comes back later right before the Whisperer's arc.
Yeah, and like she kind of with Ezekiel and all that, she goes through this like crisis of relationship, feeling like she doesn't deserve to be happy, that she's done too much in this world, that she's not deserving of happiness. So when she gets happiness with Ezekiel, she goes away. And I don't think they're going to do that with Rick's character, because Andrea stays there, so it would be weird for her to go away. And it's Rick who kind of talks her back into her sense and be like, yeah, you deserve to be happy, you dummy.
Yeah.
So, like, I think that arc is going to be gone for her.
I think Michonne's arc will follow pretty much Andrea's.
Yeah.
It'll instead of Rick and Andrea, it'll be Rick and Michonne, and it'll stay basically even with that. As far as who then gets Michonne's story from the comic, I'm leaning toward Carol.
I'm leaning towards Sasha.
Okay.
Because so much bad stuff has happened to Sasha. I think it'll be for different reasons, but I think she will be afraid to be happy because so much has happened to her, so much is taken away from her, that she's not going to trust herself to be happy and will pull away from a potential relationship, much like Michonne did.
I'm leaning toward Carol just because I think where her mind is, as far as, I got to do what needs to be done. I'll kill whoever I need to kill. I think that could lead to some kind of psychosis, that she would be like, I can't be around people. People aren't safe around me. Let me go leave. And
and I could see that too. Like, those are definitely top two contenders. And with Carol, she's not in the comics anymore. So it's the perfect person to take that arc because she doesn't have a story. They're writing it as they go, so they can very easily give her Michonne's story.
And Sasha, she's not in the comics actually either. So it could really be either character. I don't see Maggie getting that story.
No, I don't see Maggie's got a good story in the comic. I think they'll have to stick pretty close to it.
I think Maggie's story is going to follow pretty much exactly how it went in the comics, because I think Glenn is the one who's going to die at the end of Lucille.
Yeah.
So I think Maggie's story is going to stay the same. The big shift is going to be with Michonne and either Sasha or Carol.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's Sasha and Carol are really the only two female characters that have the personality type to do Michonne's arc, romantic arc in the comics.
The reason I'm not really leaning towards Sasha is because I think she's kind of become okay. She's kind of adopted almost Bob's kind of persona with just being chill. But if she shows some interest in Abraham and then something happens to him,
see, that's what
maybe
I think.
She loses that.
Yeah, I think that her and Abraham are finally going to decide to do something between each other, and then Abraham's going to die, and it's just going to wreck her.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think Sasha. Yeah. If that doesn't happen, then probably not. She's pretty zen right now. She's kind of found herself. But I think if she does develop something with Abraham, and then Abraham is killed, I think that will wreck her, and it will lose that zen, and then she will be perfectly set up to do Michonne's romantic arc.
And if you're watching this video, you should be okay with comic book spoilers. Abraham is due to die pretty soon.
And we think he's going to.
Yeah. I think that whole thing with that awkward scene that we saw in the promo between him and Sasha, and her telling him that Eugene is going to join him on patrols, it's Eugene who was with him when Dwight killed him in the comics.
Yeah.
So that could be coming up in the next few episodes. I'm thinking probably the episode before the mid-season finale, or they could possibly just shift Abraham into Glenn's role as far as dying.
Yeah, if they
Lucille.
decide to chicken out on killing Glenn, they could very easily slip Abraham in there. I do think Abraham's going to die, regardless if Glenn dies or not. Abraham, I think, is dying.
Yeah, and I think Abraham and Sasha probably get their shmoo on before that
prior,
happens.
like the episode before he dies.
Yeah. Lots of stuff upcoming, and it's so much fun to think about because the comics are or the story from the comic into the show is shifting so much right now.
And it's not the same. Even when they do the same thing, it's not the same.
Yeah.
Things are different. They go about it in a different way. So it's interesting. Even though we've read the comics, the show is still new.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it's spoiled, really, because we know where eventually they're going to go. We don't know how they're going to get there, and it's always different.
Exactly, and a lot of times the show, it feels like it's paying tribute to the comics
instead of directly following it.
Using it as a source. It's more of an inspiration than a source.
Yeah.
And it makes it so much fun to watch and think about. And I would love to know what you guys think. How do you think the Michonne-Rick relationship, Richonne, how do you think that's going to affect Michonne's story in the future, and by proxy,
who
those
do
of
you
the people
think
around
is
them?
going to take over Michonne's story?
Yeah. Super fun to think about. Let us know what you think in the comments. Also, if you enjoyed this video, and we really hope you did, be sure to let us know by clicking that like button and subscribe for more reviews.
And thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.